Welcome to Of Goodness and Truth from Divine Providence by Emanuel Swedenborg, Vegetarian, Part 2 of 2 on Words of Wisdom. In the 18th century, a great Swedish scientist and inventor, at the height of his career, began to see visions of heaven, spirits, saints, and angels. He saw Lord Jesus come to open his inner eye, which allowed him to travel in the celestial sphere and talk with different spiritual beings. This mystical experience transformed the scientist into an enlightened spiritual leader, with a new understanding of Christianity. His name is Emanuel Swedenborg. From 1744 onwards, Emanuel Swedenborg spent over a decade of his life writing down what he saw in his spiritual voyages in more than 24 books. His visions of heaven and the afterlife, his realization that God is love, and his discovery of the Holy Bible's deeper meanings are just some of the revolutionary topics he bravely documented. The life and works of this remarkable spiritual world explorer inspire people to this day. Let us continue with selections from Divine Providence, where Emanuel Swedenborg gives a more in-depth analysis of the importance of the union of goodness and truth in all that we do. The Lord's Governance. It does seem as though something good could be real apart from something true, and that something true could be real apart from something good. But this is not the case. In fact, love, all of whose elements are called good, is the reality of anything, and wisdom, all of whose elements are called true, is the manifestation of that thing that follows from its reality. Just as reality is nothing apart from manifestation, then, and manifestation is nothing apart from reality, so goodness apart from truth or truth apart from goodness is nothing. By the same token, what is something good apart from its relationship to something else? Can we really call it good? There is no effectiveness or perception involved in it. The element that has an effect when it is united to goodness, the element that makes perception and sensation possible, involves what is true because it involves what is in our discernment. Say to someone simply goodness, without saying that some particular thing is good. Is that goodness really anything? It is something only because of the particular thing that we identify with it. The only place this identification occurs is in our discernment, and our discernment involves what is true. The same holds true for intending. To intend without knowing, perceiving, and considering what we intend is nothing. But together with these functions, it is something. All our intending is a matter of love and involves what is good, and all our knowing, perceiving, and considering is a matter of discernment and involves what is true. So we can see that intending is nothing. Intending something in particular, though, is something. It is the same with all acts of service, because acts of service are good. Unless an act of service is focused on some benefit that is integral to it, it is not really an act of service, so it is nothing. It gets its focus from our discernment, and what is therefore united to or associated with the act involves what is true. This is where the act of service gets its quality. We can tell from these few examples that nothing good is really anything at all apart from something true, and that nothing true is anything at all apart from something good. We say that goodness together with truth, or truth together with goodness, is something. It follows then that evil together with falsity, or falsity together with evil, is nothing. This is because they are opposites to goodness and truth, and an opposite is destructive. In this case, it destroys the something. However, there is a marriage of goodness and truth in a cause, and from that cause there is a marriage of goodness and truth in an effect. The marriage of goodness and truth in a cause is a marriage of our volition and discernment, or of our love and wisdom. This marriage is happening in everything we intend and think and therefore decide and focus on. This marriage enters into the effect and makes it happen. But as it makes it happen, the two aspects seem like different events because something that is simultaneous is working itself out by stages. For instance, when we intend and consider providing ourselves with food, clothing, or shelter, or engaging in our job, or some task, or in social interaction, then at first we are intending and considering it, or deciding and focusing on it, both at the same time. When we express these intentions in specific effects, though, one action follows another, even though in our intent and thought they still form a single whole. The services that are performed in these effects are the results of love or of goodness. The means to these services are the effects of discernment or truth. Anyone can support these general observations by specific examples, provided there is a clear sense of what belongs to the good that love can do and what belongs to the truth that wisdom perceives, and provided there is a clear grasp of how they are reflected in a cause and how they are reflected in an effect. I have stated on occasion that love is what constitutes our life, but this does not mean love separated from wisdom, or what is good separated from what is true in the cause. This is because love by itself, or what is good by itself, is nothing. Consequently, the love that constitutes our deepest life, the life that comes from the Lord, is love and wisdom together. So too, the love that constitutes our life to the extent that we are open to it, is not love by itself in the cause, though it is by itself in the result. Love is incomprehensible apart from its quality, and its quality is wisdom. That quality or wisdom can come only from its underlying reality, which is love. This is why they are a single whole, and the same holds true for what is good and what is true. Now, since what is true comes from what is good, the way wisdom comes from love, both together are called love or good. Love in its form actually is wisdom, and what is good in its form is true. Form is the one and only source of quality. We can therefore conclude that what is good is actually good only to the extent that it is united to what is appropriately true, and that what is true is actually only to the extent that it is united to what is appropriately good. For more information on Emanuel Swedenborg, please visit Swedenborg.com.
I urge all the animal lovers, their protectors, rescuers, to see no difference between the animals that you love and care for and the ones who are exploited every single day because of what you eat. They are all the same. Please try and extend your love and compassion towards them all. Sada, Vegan.
Gracious viewers, it was a joy to have you with us today for Words of Wisdom.